Welcome to the I Heart My Fit Biz podcast, where we will be covering everything you need for inspiration, motivation, and practical advice in how to create a thriving fitness business. Welcome to today's episode of I Heart My Fit Biz podcast. And today we are talking about really differentiating between burnout, overworking, and what I like to call aligned hustle. And there's a very clear distinction between the three. And it might be that you are burnt out, but you're not overworking necessarily, or you are overworking and not in aligned hustle. And so we're going to have a look at all three and really look at how you can change, how you can grow, and how you can move into aligned hustle. So first of all, let's talk about burnout. Now, you might be feeling exhausted, you might be feeling tired, but are you burnt out? And how do you know when you are in burnout, should I say? So I've been all three of these. So I've been in burnout, I've been overworking, and I've also experienced aligned hustle, which I'm in most of the time now. But burnout stemmed from a lot of overworking, but there was a clear difference in overworking and burnout. Now, burnout, you will probably know if you are in burnout. I think it's a term that's thrown around quite easily when people really haven't experienced it. So burnout is you're literally waking up every day and you're exhausted even when you wake up. You are overwhelmed, you feel stuck, and every day feels like a chore. It feels hard to get through. And with my burnout, I experienced a lot of literally crying before classes. I didn't want to go teach. It got to the point where the thing that you used to love is now the one thing that you just don't want to do because you're so exhausted from it. Whereas overworking, you can be tired, you can feel exhausted, but you still keep going. You're just overworking. So there's a difference between the two. Burnout is literally this feeling, this emotional fatigue, as well as physical fatigue, as well as an overwhelming fatigue, and it's almost like a little bit of a depression as well, and this feeling of not really wanting to go on or keep doing what you're doing, and these real low points, and it affects you physically, it affects you emotionally, it affects every other area of your life. Overworking is, again, a lot of people are in overworking rather than burnout. And overworking can lead to burnout. Overworking is simply taking everything and anything on, but you're still in a place of not necessarily exhausted, you're still in a place of you can keep going, but you know you've got too much. It's starting to feel a little bit overwhelming, and you know you're taking too much on, but you just keep going. And so overworking is not necessarily a bad thing when you are aligned with it, but when you are overworking just for the sake of overworking, like you're just saying yes, basically. You're becoming a little bit of a people pleaser. You're just saying yes. Maybe you are doing it because you need the money and you're just taking things on. But it really comes from a place of fear almost. You're taking so much on and you're overworking, sometimes out of fear of not being offered those classes again, or not really believing that there's plenty more where that work has come from and where that income has come from. And so you get into the habit of not saying no to things that you don't really want to do, and you're literally just working because you feel like you should be taking things on and you should just keep going. And so you're doing a lot of hours you're teaching a lot of hours, maybe you're not necessarily teaching a lot of hours, you might just be working on your business 24/7. So there's a different energy from overworking to from burnout, in the sense that overworking, you're almost still in control, if you like. You're still in a place of you can keep going. Whereas with burnout, you physically, emotionally, mentally cannot keep going. Whereas overworking is literally just you're overworking, you're doing the hours and you just keep going. Now, then we move into aligned hustle. And this is something that I like to call it aligned hustle, because there's certain things that when you take your fitness business online, when you're maybe seeing adverts of coaching and say, create an online business and create freedom, there is a certain amount of freedom with it, but there's still an amount of work that comes with it as well. And so I think we can believe that an online business is the answer to it all, and we get to become not lazy, but we get to not work very much. And yes, you don't have to work as much, but there is still work to do, and there is still things to do daily and weekly, and there's still things to market and promote and things like that. But it just allows you the flexibility for freedom. So it means that you're not really attached to a specific time and a specific place. And it also means that the work that you are doing, you actually really want to be doing, because you've got the energy and you've got the focus and you have got the time to do the work. So I do like the word freedom when it comes to creating an online fitness business and when it comes to growing a business, because I do think that a lot of people get into a business because they want more freedom, and they end up going the other way to overworking and burnout. So I do believe a business should create freedom in your life, but I think the better word for it is flexibility, the flexibility for freedom. So I know that having an online income means that I can take more time off. I can take my time with the work that I need to do, and I'm not restricted to a certain time, a certain place, a certain number of hours of physically working in my business with clients, if that makes sense. I've got more freedom to create when I want, where I want. I've got the freedom to one day do a full focused day of work and another day to take off. Or I've got the freedom to have a week where I work just the mornings. But there's still work to be done. So that's why I call it aligned hustle, because it doesn't feel like work. And a lot of people say that, when you start a business, if you love it, if you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work, but it does. Like when you're actually starting a business, it does feel like work, and especially if you've got a physical face-to-face business, there are physical working hours, so it feels like work. And even though you're still passionate about what you do, sometimes it can become a chore because you're making it too much about work. Whereas again, aligned hustle, you are passionate about what you do, and you have the flexibility and freedom to stay passionate while working with flexibility. I hope that makes sense. So I don't like when there's this kind of energy of giving off of when you have an online business, there's no work involved, because there is. But it is that work that is aligned, and there is that hustle that is flexible. And I could overwork with my online business because I love it. So there's a aligned hustle, and overworking can be almost the same thing. But aligned hustle means that you do have your own boundaries, and it means it's optional. You're not working because you're working out of fear because you feel like you have to take everything on. So aligned hustle is really in the place where you want to be. It's that place where you have the opportunity to overwork, or shall we say, work as many hours as you want. And you also have the opportunity to take a step back and find flexibility and flow with your business rather than being restricted to specific hours and time for money. And again, a lot of fear-based business decisions come from and lead to burnout and overworking. Because we get to burnout and overworking from these fear-based thoughts that I have a business now, if I don't take this on, the income won't come in again. Like, I've got to take this on because I need the income. There's this fear that if we say no, we won't be asked again. Or if we say no, we turn work away, we're turning money away. And so again, we take everything on, which then leads to overworking, which then leads to burnout. And I've forgotten my point then. So it comes from burnout, and it also leads to burnout. So I had to pause then and think what I was saying. So yeah, a lot of fear-based thoughts and decisions lead to burnout, like I just explained, because we are making decisions based on what we think we need or what we think we can't turn away. But it also comes from burnout. So when we're in our overworking state and in our burnout state, we're making fear-based decisions based on this fear of like, I can't take anything else on. And so, but we know we can't give anything up. So we have this fear that we can't give anything up. And at the same time, we can't take anything else on because we're full to capacity. So we're in this fear-based decision-making mode. Whereas aligned hustle is a really love-based decisions. You're taking on clients and work that feel aligned with you. You're putting in hours that you want to put in rather than you feel you need to put in. And everything you do is like, do I want to do this? Rather than, do I need to do this? And it just feels so much, there's so much more flow with our aligned hustle. And we actually want to work and we want to progress. I'm not saying that in your fitness business now you don't want to work, but we get to that place where we're overworking and in burnout when working actually does become a chore. And the business that we thought we built on passion and love is now a business that we're running from a place of fear and lack and burnout and overworking. So I hope that makes sense and gives you a little bit of a differentiation between those three. And just think about where you are at. Are you at that place where you're overworking that could potentially lead to burnout? Are you at burnout where maybe you're listening to this and you're crying because you know that you are burnt out? Are you working towards aligned hustle? So can you recognize the decisions that you're making in your fitness business now that are, even though you're still overworking in a place where you don't want to be now, you are making decisions moving towards that aligned hustle where you want to be? Does aligned hustle make sense to you? Or does it feel like almost unbelievable, like you can't progress there? I'd love to know, so please reach out to me if you resonated with this, or if you know you're in a specific place in one of those areas right now, or you don't know how to get to that aligned hustle. But one thing I would say, just a few tips to move yourself towards that aligned hustle, is think about everything that you are doing in your fitness business and eliminate what you can. Eliminate those things that aren't necessarily needed. Start saying no from a place of, I'm saying no to this because I know I'm full to capacity at the moment. And I'm saying no to this because I know that I want to bring my focus into something or onto something different. If you're in burnout, if you know you're in burnout, I want you to take a full day or full week off and really reevaluate what you want to go back to. So I hope that makes sense, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. Again, we've got another short episode today because I thought it's a really good idea to really know the difference between those three, because they can overlap. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you found anything interesting, inspiring, motivating, useful in this podcast, please reach out to me and let me know. I love to hear your stories and how this has helped you. It's been my aim and my passion to help fitness business owners build thriving fitness businesses, but also build a fitness business without burnout and exhaustion, because that's where I found myself a few years ago. So if you need help with your fit biz, whether it's building online and creating an online service with a website and app and new clients coming into your fitness business on a constant, consistent basis, or maybe you would love help filling your classes and bringing in new clients to your classes every week and every month. Maybe it's social media that you're struggling with in terms of promoting your fitness business. Whatever it is, I think I can help. I have the I Heart My Fit Biz Members Club, which is full of tutorials and masterclasses that's going to help you with a great fitness business mindset and practical tools that you can implement in every area of your fitness business. Or maybe you're teaching 20 plus classes per week and you're burnt out and you're exhausted like I was a few years ago, and you need help taking your fitness business online so you can bring in an online income stream without teaching a single class. And that means you can start teaching only the classes that you absolutely love to teach because you love to teach them. And I can help you do that with the mentorships. We have group mentorships, one-to-one mentorships, and premium mentorships where I do the techie stuff for you. So I will add all the links below if you are looking for more help in creating a thriving fitness business. If not, subscribe to this podcast or follow me on social media so you can get tips and advice on creating a thriving fit biz.